Welcome to Snow Talk. Back in routine again here, guys, and I hope you had a nice holiday period. First off, on our snow stats, they have not changed any, surprisingly, with all this cold air. 0.2 of an inch of snow. We should be around 3 inches. We'll make up for it. Be patient. Winter's young still, guys. But we're ahead of last year. To me, that's all that counts. All right, the morning lows. Impressive. 0 degrees here in Louisville, Dakota since February 19th of 2015 when we went below 0. And that was with the help of a bit of snow, by the way. So with a bare ground to get to 0, that is remarkable. In fact, our pressure outside, air pressure, is up there, one of the highest pressures we've ever had on record. So it's a very strong high that has really allowed for so much of that cold sinking air into our area to allow for this cold Arctic outbreak. Look at Henryville, you guys, 8 below. 2 below into Springhurst. Now, keep in mind, some locations here are probably colder if you have your home station that what we show on the map. If you don't get your station online, we can't use it as an official station there because a lot of things we got to check on it. But these are the ones that have been checked, and this is what they're reporting. So just kind of an FYI on these numbers. When you look at the rest of Wave Country, hardly any place other than a couple stations mixed in there that may have gotten above 0. Most of this was 0 or below for Wave Country this morning. Again, truly a remarkable stat out there. Now we're up to 3. 3 degrees. 7 below still in Salem. We'll take it. Wind chill isn't a huge deal right now, which is good. We got the wind chill advisory in effect, but I think that's going to be allowed to expire certainly on time. Still some wind chills that could get to 10 below or lower quickly with a little gust of wind, but a constant 10 below wind chill is not likely to happen. All right, we're quiet now. In fact, if you look carefully, you can see still the edge of the snow cover around Indianapolis, north of the Wabash there into Ohio, and extends all the way, of course, to the Great Lakes. Our next system is going to be a clipper that's going to be diving in. You see it now in North Dakota. Just like most of them, they will not have a lot of moisture to work with. But we will get it more and more of a southwest wind that is going to try its best to throw at least some moisture into our atmosphere. It's not going to be much, but whatever does get pulled in with a front tomorrow evening can produce some snow showers and flurries. Let me show you that. Here is the southwest wind. That should be enough, by the way, to get us well into the 20s, if not 30 degrees. But then as it moves in, it squeezes out the period of snow showers and flurries, and continues to pass its way off to the south. So a little wave of moisture with the actual front, and then we're back down in the single digits. Snowfall. I'll have to angle this a little more, I think, as we head into the midday update. But in general, dusting is certainly possible, but a few tenths of an inch is going to be spotty, but certainly can happen. All right, and I wouldn't roll it up to half inch. So this is certainly going to be a situation where you're going to run into some slick spots in the roads. Ground is cold, everything's going to stick, and we'll be approaching nightfall at this point, so that will only aid in the idea of slick roads. Be careful tomorrow evening for these light snow showers. All right, so what's after this? Well, I'm so glad you asked. First off, here we go with the map here from the year on. I love this map because this is your rain snow line aloft. That's key, aloft. The pink area, and then getting into the blues and purples, is the freezing line. So this is right at 32 degrees, the edge of the pink. And then it gets way below 32. The more you get into here, you're like 0 and below. But notice that as we head into Saturday, how it's starting to warm up aloft in areas where it's still cold and at or below freezing at the surface. That's very typical for Arctic air like this that is entrenched, because Arctic air is very heavy, it's very low lying. So when warm air begins to be thrown at us, it's going to go all over it first. It's just too hard to scoop up and move out of the way, basically. So it's going to go over it, and eventually it'll start pushing on the lower layers down to the ground and move it out of the way. But that process can take some time. And here's the issue. When you got that warm conveyor belt, it then throws moisture in, and then you run into problems with freezing rain and sleet that can develop before you roll it away that completely lower layer, if you do at all, and then you go into all rain. But it's a process that takes place. And the models sometimes overestimate the speed in which the warm flow can erode away and scoop up that lower layer of Arctic cold. So that we have to always keep that in mind in these scenarios. And every season we run into issues with this that I would say 80 to 90% of the time, you better bet on the idea of something frozen happening first. That it's going to be slower to get pushed out. So having said that, this is the Euro again. Notice as we head into Sunday, rain, snow line aloft is north of us now. So now we're to a point where we're dealing with rain if it falls. But we are also at the freezing level still on the ground. Now, we may have some moisture develop at that point. Now, the Euro says by the time we get moisture in here, it's hard to see where it is behind this line, but it's roughly right here is freezing. So there's going to be pockets here, freezing rain, to watch very close to us even Sunday night into Monday. And again, I think the model is too quick on this. It's really safe to push us a little more south. That's why they could see some period of icing into here, and then you're more of a snow issue once you get along north of I-70. And then as we get the backside of it, you see how we get the rain-snow line off crashing. So then, but the freezing line at the ground level is not crashing. It's like the opposite happens then. Now we're crashing, but the ground level is a little slower to fall, so we're likely going to deal with a rain to snow deal, kind of a setup, instead of rain to freezing rain or anything. But here comes the cold Arctic air moving back in behind it. And as we do that, we got a clipper, another wave. This clipper is really going to bring down another chunk of very brutal Arctic air again for next Wednesday and Thursday. As that happens, it's going to try to squeeze out more moisture, which would be in the form of a clipper-like snowfall, very light snowfall, around the 10th. Cold air hangs out, and then just as we try to pull out of that one, same exact story. Low-level cold, rain-snow line, though, tries to beat out ahead of it, so then we got a problem here. We got a problem with mixed issues with precip around the 12th. And that's where that story ends for now. Look at the cold potential. First off, entering this weekend, the Euro's got us down to 3 Saturday morning with no snow again on the ground. It's cold. Now, here's interesting. On Sunday, we see 16, and then we climb up to 37 by the afternoon. So you can see why the temperature sensor is trying to get us up there, and that's why it doesn't have us at the freezing line in the afternoon. It's likely too fast. We may be more like 32, 33 at 2 o'clock Sunday instead of 37. And then we may warm up to closer to 40 on Monday. I would say my guess is probably more like 38, 39. It depends on how much of that lower layer is eroded away. If it erodes away all of it, yes, 40s can happen. But I remain skeptical for right now. And then we get colder on the backside, and here comes that shot of cold Arctic air back down to 8, so single digits, if not below 0 again in the Ohio Valley for that next Thursday. And then we slowly come out of that one. So this is a wild pattern. I don't know, a lot of you want snow. Are we ever going to get snow? I can't answer all those questions. All I can tell you is that you've got to have a south wind to get involved here. You've got to get moisture added to the atmosphere. You've got to keep the cold air around to have the two potential work together for a wintry event. And it may not always be the same scenario, the same perfect scenario. It's going to be either before or after an Arctic break. Anything during Arctic outbreak is going to be a clipper, which you can still get a good light snow event. But for those of you with the big snows and the big stuff, you've got to warm up, guys. And you know the risk of that. You warm up too much and you go to rain. But that is what we have to deal with. That's our area. That's what we face. But that's what's going to have to happen. Looking at the ensembles from the GFS for this Sunday, Monday thing, some of them are a little stronger with the low path looks crucial here. Some take the path right along the Ohio River there, so therefore not as warm. And some take it way to the north, which would allow for that warm air to really move in. But you can see the struggle that even the GFS is going to have. In fact, when you look at the GFS, there's the Arctic oscillation. This is what I mean by it's not scoring well. Blue line is what has happened. The white dots are what's forecast to happen. You want to go negative to get an Arctic blast to happen. Negative south of the black line. Look at what happened during December. It was going positive for a while. It was way off. The reality was neutral, if not negative. And then the thing is, it kept going too far negative. It was too aggressive with it. So it had to correct itself. Again, back to about neutral to negative. Now what's it doing? Well, it tried to warm us up, or at least it tried to warm back up the pattern to where we would get back into a warmer regime for our area. But now the correction, it's going back negative. It even as far as last night, or really yesterday, it was trying again to bring us positive in Arctic oscillation. What's it doing? Correcting again. Back down to the south, keeping the Arctic warmer than average, and for us, cold air still lingers. So the GFS is really having a tough time with the Arctic right now and how to displace that. When you look at the Euro, though, look how it's done pretty well. All of its previous model runs had a little glitch there. Wasn't perfect. Tried to warm us up beginning of for this week here, but it's corrected itself back down, tanking for later next week. And even again, yesterday it was a couple of them were trying to bring us up there to positive, but then the reality is kicking back in of the cold Arctic air staying in place. So this is a wild pattern, guys, but what we need to watch is every time we warm up, that's when the fun and games will begin. Our first round at playing that game will be Sunday.